Hello, and welcome to Home Groups. Thank you for making it a priority to get together, to build relationships, and to learn more about God, and also to pray for each other. Currently, we're in a series titled FaithWalk. This series is based on the 10 Commandments. This morning, we learned about the 9th commandment, and that commandment says that you shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. Exodus 20, verse 16. The 9th commandment is about truth as much as it is about lying. The commandment is not only telling us what not to do, but it is teaching us what we should be doing, being truthful. Did you know that lying is something that does not need to be taught? It's almost like it's an instinct. Children at a very young age can be skillful at not telling the truth. On YouTube, one little girl's video went viral as she was recorded not being truthful. Watch this.
The truth or a lie?
The truth. I'm trying the truth.
The truth? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tiffany, what's inside that hat? Move the donut that's on top of the hat. And open up the hat. So you stole a whole donut, huh? You didn't? What is that I'm looking at?
This.
I'm looking at the hat. So I don't see that donut? Tiffany, open your hand. There's a donut, right?
There.
Yeah. And where was it supposed to be?
In the donut thing.
Yeah, in that container.
And someone didn't put it in there.
No, it was in there. Somebody took it out.
Yeah.
Who?
It was Daddy.
That's cute. Daddy getting blamed again. Thankfully, her mother is addressing the lying. Parents have to address lying and correct their children because lying is something that requires little to nothing to sprout in our lives, but takes ongoing effort to curb and prevent in our lives. Lying has many negative consequences. However, tonight I'd like to focus on the blessing of truthfulness. The number one blessing of truthfulness, I believe, is that it builds God's character in our hearts. Jesus said in John 14:6, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. God is truth. It is His character. Each of the commandments reveal the nature of God. As God revealed the rules which His people were to obey, He was revealing to them some of His own characteristics. He is a God of holiness, of majesty, of justice, and of sovereignty. He's faithful, trustworthy, and truthful. The character trait truthfulness is God's nature. It is who He is. He speaks truth. He is truth. In our world, truth is not valued as much as feelings and desires. The problem with feelings and desires is that they change. Truth does not. Truth is not subjective to our feelings and desires. We subject our feelings and desires to truth. As a Christian, our goal is to become more and more like Christ. As we learned earlier, lying is an instinct. No one had to teach us how to lie. Maybe we do it as a defense mechanism to protect our own interest or to hide our mistakes. Maybe we do it hoping to profit. Maybe we do it to flatter ourselves or make ourselves out to be someone that we're not. Whatever the reason, lying is the opposite of who God is. God is truth. To be more like Jesus, we need to be truthful. Becoming like Christ is an active decision that's made on a daily basis. In the Old Testament, there's a young man by the name of Jacob. He had a twin brother named Esau, and they were born minutes apart. Jacob and his mother conspired to deceive Jacob's father, her husband, to steal the blessing intended for Esau so that Jacob could receive it. They succeeded, but there were consequences. Jacob never saw his parents again, and his relationship with his brother was estranged. The name Jacob actually means deceiver. Later on, while he's running for his life, he has an encounter with God. And in that encounter, God changes Jacob's name to Israel, which means he strives with God. From deceiver to striving with God. What a change. He was born a deceiver, but then becomes the one who perseveres and prevails. It doesn't matter where we've come from or what our past is. When we make the decision to follow Christ and we commit our lives to Him, we start the journey of becoming like Christ. There may be deceit or unfaithfulness in our past, but after we encounter God and accept Christ, we start the journey to be like Christ. And we leave deceit and lying in our past, and we embrace and practice truthfulness, we start to build God's character in our lives. Let me leave you with 3 things that truthfulness brings with it. Number 1, faithfulness. Faithfulness means I will follow through no matter what happens. A husband and a wife say in their vows for better or worse. Why? Because the future is not clear. It can include great times or not so great times. Being faithful requires us to follow through on commitments. God is faithful. He was faithful to the Israelites even though they were not faithful to him. He held to his covenant promise. When you're truthful, you're saying what you mean and meaning what you say, you are building this likeness of God in your heart. Secondly, trust. The more we tell the truth, the more people trust us. Do you know when you gain the greatest truth? When it's not in your benefit to tell the truth. Maybe telling the truth to your teacher about why you didn't complete a class project reveals that you procrastinated. In that moment, it may seem like you lost credibility, but in reality, your teacher now knows you're a truthful person and can trust what you say. Maybe you did not finish your work project on time. Be truthful and upfront with your supervisor. I believe your truthfulness, instead of making excuses or blame shifting, is going to build your trustworthiness. And thirdly, love. When you tell the truth, you show love. When God reveals to us the 10 commandments, it's out of love. He shares with us the way we are to live our lives to avoid pain, burnout, and broken relationships. Out of his love for us, he shares truth about life. When you love someone, we share truth with them. Now that truth must be presented in a loving way if it is actually love that is motivating us. Ephesians 4:15 says, "Instead, speaking the truth in love, we will in all things grow up into him who is the head, that is Christ." Building God's character in our lives requires being truthful, no matter what it costs us, no matter how we feel, and out of love for our neighbor. As Christians, we should have the reputation of being truthful. We should be faithful, trustworthy, and loving. Thank you for joining us for home groups. I now turn it back to your home group hosts.